Okay, I'm Tin. I'm with the Engine Room. Yeah, we work globally in supporting organizations to integrate strategically and tactically technologies into their work. And I'm here to talk to you about the trends in civic technology, the trendy trends in civic technology. But the first thing that I wanted to talk about is what we even mean by civic technology, because it's a really broad subject. And I'm sure that if I asked any of you, everyone will have a slightly different view of what civic technology actually encompasses. So at the moment, what peers that I trust and respect are defining as the civic technology is that it's the use of technology for the public good, which again doesn't really help in focusing it, but it does help because it kind of puts us in the driving seat of this presentation, speaking about the civil society and the social change organizations doing technology towards transparency, accountability, and so on. There was a research done by the Knight Foundation in 2013 that was looking into investments in civic tech, and they counted around $430 million being invested in civic technology. But the thing is, within the, let's say, hat of civic technology, they were also considering peer-to-peer sharing platforms like Airbnb and information crowdsourcing platforms like Waze, which basically took off the biggest chunk of those investments. So we are not talking about those. So this is our title, and it's nice and dreamy. And this is me nicely dreaming about it. I thought this would be funny for me. Actually, it's kind of creepy. So let's move on. So what are the trendy trends in civic technology? First of all, there are many groups that are doing excellent work in collecting everything that's out there in civic technology, and it's a lot of things. So only recently, this year, Matt Stempek, Director of Technology for Microsoft, Director of Civic Technology for Microsoft, Micah Sifri, co-founder of the PDF and current founder of Civic Hall, and Ellen Simpson, Director of the Civic Hall Labs, have started work on the Civic Tech Field Guide. You can see it on that link. And basically what they're doing is they're collecting information about what civic technology platforms are out there. And at the moment, they have collected, through the help of other practitioners and they went to TICTAC to collect information to PDF New York and so on. I think you can also actually visit that link and provide your own input as well. They collected, up until now, 387 projects split into 33 different categories. This is actually the screenshot of the spreadsheet. And you will see there's a lot of overlap. There are many projects working within the same categories, like crowdsourcing, constituent to government communications, and so on. So trend number one, proliferation. Many people are working on civic technologies, so all over the globe. So we are assuming that we are all moving towards good results out of it. Not necessarily. So the Engine Room did a research in the past year with our partners and friends from South Africa and Kenya, and it's called the Tool Selection Research, and we're basically trying to figure out how organizations that do projects based on tech actually select the tools that they are using. And we also asked a bunch of questions about how they selected tech and also what was the result of their project. And half of them said that nobody actually used their platform, which is, half is a lot. And we'll talk about this a little bit more, but there are also, experts in the area that are also being, increasingly critical about civic tech and the possibilities of civic tech. This is a beautiful quote from Josh Tauber, who is the founder of GovTrack.us and a million other civic tech projects. He's been in the scene for, 10 years. And this is what he says in one of the blog posts that he wrote about about improving democracy through civic tech. If you wonder why you don't see your idea out there, it's because it didn't work the hundreds of other times somebody tried it. So I guess trend number two, disappointment. Aww. So, there are silver linings, and there are things that can be looked into on why things are not working. So in our research with the tool selection process, we asked these three questions to the groups to see whether they did research around them. And the first question was, did you do, before choosing the tool and building your tech project, did you do research on your audience, on your stakeholders? The other one was, did you do research around the problem you're trying to solve? In terms of, have there been other projects, non-tech related, that have trying to address it? What's the advocacy stance at the moment, and so on. And the third question is, did you do research about other technical solutions that are out there? Unsurprisingly and unfortunately, almost exclusively, the groups picked one of the three. And I think only 3 organizations actually tried to do research in all 3 areas. And also, unsurprisingly, the organizations did research in that area that they felt most comfortable with. Tech organizations did tech research very well. Organizations with a strong user base, with a strong stakeholder base, did the research on their stakeholders. But there was not a lot of overlap. So I built a Venn diagram that shows the overlap between users, the problem, and the tech. And so this is a problem, because if we think about civic tech, we have, in the name itself, we have civic and tech together. But if we have organizations that are siloed within their own expertise, we risk, for example, people not using our tool, or the tool not being adapted to the advocacy purposes of it, or, for example, the tool not being the right tool for our constituency. There is a recent research, very recent, from the World Bank, written by Tiago Peixoto and Jonathan Fox. They were analyzing how ICT projects that were enabling citizen engagement with governments, when those projects would actually have an impact on improving governmental accountability around those projects. Like, when is it that institutions actually care? And they found out that tech projects can help with the capacity of institutions to implement change and to act upon what is being collected, but only if they already care about it. In the cases in which a tool was built that showed a real problem, but there wasn't an open door in the institutions, the uptake was minimal. Many projects failed, even if they had strong points and strong advocacy. Since there was no door towards the institutions, nothing really came to fruition. And I see that as encompassing within the problem bubble, the ability to have open doors, and the ability to open doors towards institutions and being able to talk on the advocacy level. So theoretically, we can't afford to not have all 3, but we also probably can't afford to have all 3, like literally with the money. It takes a long time and a lot of expertise to actually become experts in one of these 3 areas. And as much as we all would like to, be riding unicorns and throwing money at people, that's not usually the case. And sometimes those finite resources we do have, if we want to focus them on an area of expertise that's not ours, for example, in a tech project where we as an organization don't have enough of expertise to allocate those resources properly, we might just waste those resources because we don't know exactly how to spend them. A moment of silence for the raccoon. That's the saddest GIF I've ever seen. So, I know. So, I mean, what would make sense, of course, is building collaboration with different organizations working in the same area that have skills that we lack, so that together we can hit all 3 areas. Easier said than done. First of all, because it's again a question of resources. The resources aren't much. If we're working in the same field, we are probably going for the same funding as well. And so that's the main problem in the question of how to build strong and meaningful collaborations with other groups, is fundamentally a question of trust. How can we build and create trust with another organization so that we can have an actual concrete collaboration instead of like an arm's reach collaboration? So what we will propose is 3 kind of dimensions on how to build trust effectively. The first one, organizational transparency. And this is not government transparency, it's our own transparency. Being open with what we are, what we do, how we do it, successes and failures, warts and all, so that once we want to actually build a collaboration with another organization, they know what to expect from us, and we know what to expect from them. Linked to that, we have proactive openness. By that I mean an actual plan to always keep open. And again, this is not only about open data. It's not about using the appropriate formats. It's first and foremost about the mentality of openness going forward. And the third part is the responsible use of data. So if we are building tech projects and database projects, and all of us are somehow, somewhere collecting data about our constituents, automatically that means that we need to create systems where we protect that information because we want to protect the people we are fighting for. And if we make a collaboration with another organization, we are basically asking our constituents to trust them as well. That's why a responsible use of data and a responsible, open, and transparent, and clear process on how we collect the data and process it and make sure that we protect it is important, because that way, on a two-way scale, we can ensure that protection. That's Leonardo DiCaprio, by the way. I'm very happy with that gift as well. And so, with 3 minutes and 40 seconds to spare, the key takeaways: users, problem, tech, the seldom overlapping trio. Collaboration, that therefore is vital and smart, and trust is key, but it's also hard. And trust can be built through organizational transparency, proactive openness, and responsible data usage. And I will leave you with a list of fun things to read that inspired this presentation, like this presentation. That was very meta. You can access it on that link and take anything you want from there, and I will be putting more links into that. The Josh Tauber's blog post, You Want to Reform Democracy, really good. Laura McKellen, which I didn't talk about more, but she's a great example of how to look into human-centered design and design thinking when building civic tech projects. Tom Steinberg, former ED of My Society, wrote a beautiful piece, sort of tangential to what we are talking about, but I think really smart in learning, again, how to speak openly and aggressively about what we do and stop being so polite. Matt Stampeck, Towards the Taxonomy of Civic Tech, is the blog post that collects that Civic Tech Field Guide spreadsheet and the Civic Tech Field Guide at the end. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Welcome.
Wow, we have still 2 minutes, 20 seconds. Hold on, because I have a question for you. So, okay, it's on?
It is on.
So when you think about civic technology, and you said also a lot about trust, how do you balance civic and tech between each other?
Yeah, that's kind of the point, right? It's how to find the right balance between the two it feeds back to the discussion of the 3 overlapping areas. The civic part is the part of that's what we are focused towards doing. Like, that's the advocacy part that we want to do, and the technology part is what enables it. But the importance of creating a really deep network between that and making sure that we actually are using tech towards civic and not the other way around. By the way, Kuba, thank you so much for your points on trust and for your points of problems looking for a solution, because that's kind of the main point. So yeah, deep integration and hopefully collaboration between groups that have one or more expertises that can connect with others.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we are already waiting here the Yuri Nazarov.